Hey Power 9 fam, welcome back. We're here for another Fireside Chat video. Today we're going to be talking about Games Workshop. If you're familiar with the series, typically we have questions and answers from you guys that we do our best to respond to, but today we're going to do another deep dive on a particular topic. Last time we talked about Bandai and some of the issues that they had with both their supply chain, their ability to deliver products and events. Today we're going to be talking about Games Workshop. There are going to be some parallels, but there are going to be some noticeable differences. And our hope is that by having this conversation, having this open dialogue with you guys, you kind of understand some of the pain points that we deal with and why sometimes we cannot make these sort of guarantees and hit the deadlines that we would like to offer you and hopefully as a customer you've come to expect from us. So let's kick things off. In recent months, the pre-order system for Games Workshop has substantively changed. How substantively, you might ask? I will give you the before and the after. Before, Games Workshop would have a 2-week solicitation window and a 1-week pre-order. What that means is that they would come to us and they would say, hey retailers, you love our stuff. Here's what's coming down the pipe. You have to order it in this week. And we'd have a week to communicate with our reps. Then the next week it would go live on Warhammer Community and you guys would see it available to purchase from either Games Workshop or from us. And then the following week it would arrive. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward, pretty clean. Someone decided they didn't like clean, straightforward, or anything like that, and they threw a couple wrenches in the works. So let me try and now do my best to explain what is going on now. Hopefully this graphic helps explain it. We now have a 3-week solicitation, a 2-week heads up, followed by a 1-week pre-order window. What does that mean? 3 weeks before a product releases, Games Workshop does a quick tease on Warhammer Community, and they send us a form, retailers a form, asking how much of a certain product we want. These are our want numbers. If you guys watched the previous video about Bandai, you're already familiar with the term want numbers and allocations. If you're not, I'll go through it here very quickly. 3 weeks out, we send in our want numbers. The following week, GW says, hey, here's what you asked for, here's your allocation. This is what you're going to receive. We're now in about the 2-week range before the product releases. Then it goes up on Warhammer Community for pre-order for you guys. Our window to ask for product has already closed. So by the time this stuff gets its big push on Warhammer Community, by the time that we have the GW marketing engine raising awareness, we've already submitted our requests. Then the following week, they have the, hey, this is what is releasing next week. Make sure that you get your request in for both your LGS, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, although you really should have done that 2 weeks previously. And then you can also buy it from us. And then the week that it releases, we have it available in store, and it starts to ship from Games Workshop Direct if you choose to go that route. This isn't that complicated, comma. There is a constant cycle of new releases coming. So 3 weeks out, we have product A being solicited, and then 2 weeks out, we have the pre-orders, and then 1 week out, we have the big push. In week 2 of product A, solicitations for product B go live. And in week 1 of product A, pre-orders for product B go live, and solicitations for product C go out to us. I'm a Warhammer fan. I can wax poetic about my favorite Primarchs, pivotal battles, all kinds of nerdy bullshit. I have trouble keeping track of what is actually releasing on a given weekend, what is up for pre-order, and what numbers we have to submit to GW. If you guys are part of our Discord or any of the chat groups that I'm in, you'll see me post these polls, or I'll just point blank ask the group as a whole, hey guys, this is coming up, what do you want to see, what would you like me to put on order for you, and how much? And typically, because of the way the system works, there's one of two things. Either there's so much other stuff going on that it's almost impossible to separate the signal from the noise, or because these solicitations are accompanied with just the barest tease of information, you guys, it's not really been brought to your awareness. It's not top of mind for you guys. So this has definitely put a lot of extra pressure on retailers. And if you don't buy from us, any game store you go to, this is not something that is unique to Power 9. This is just the system that is in place now for Games Workshop. It's put a lot of extra, I'm not going to say stress, but it requires us to be much more on top of our game as far as getting these things in a timely fashion, educating and informing you, our player base, our friends, our community, and trying our damnedest to make sure that we have appropriate stock when the thing actually releases. And what I've found is that it is very, very difficult because there's always so much going on. It's one of the reasons we love Games Workshop. There's always something to look forward to. But when you have these stacked layers of want numbers, solicitations, pre-orders, release, it's just noise. It's just a constant jumble. So I don't blame anybody for having a little more difficulty keeping track of what's coming down the pipe. I have trouble doing it, and it's my literal job. That is part of the problem that is going on with Games Workshop at present. Let's talk about the second one, and that has to do with their ability to deliver shipments and orders in a timely fashion. We can kind of set our clock to most of the distributors and manufacturers that we order from in this industry. With some noticeable exceptions, sometimes there's inclement weather, sometimes there's a dock strike, crazy things happen in the world. But by and large, if I order something on a Sunday or Monday, I will be able to have a fairly good idea of when it'll arrive either that week or maybe the beginning of the following week. That is not the case for Games Workshop. And again, if you guys are watching this video this far, I'm pretty sure you're part of our Warhammer community and you've already felt the effects of this, and I'm just trying to explain what is going on. Games Workshop, if you guys have ever worked in a warehouse, I know there's a lot of Amazon workers and a lot of people in the military who are Warhammer fans. If you ever worked in a warehouse, there's typically a chronological system. Orders come in, orders go out, or shipments go out. There are two factors at play with Games Workshop that kind of throw that out the window. One is based off of what we have seen. Literally, as I'm recording this right now, my guys are unpacking a GW shipment. Except it's not a GW shipment, it's actually 3. So what seems to be happening is that they're not going based off of when an order is placed and shipping it out in a chronological fashion. They go to an account, they basically scoop up all of the pending orders for that account, and they shotgun them all out at once. Which creates this system where we'll go 2, 3, or 4 weeks without receiving anything, and in that 5th week, it is just a deluge of, yo, you want your plastic? You've got it, bud. And those are always really exciting days for anyone who's working the shipment floor or the intake floor, because I think we're like at 30 boxes right now. And when I say boxes, I mean large 2 by, maybe like 3 by 1.5 by 1.5, like shipment UPS brown boxes. These are not small packages. The other thing that happened, and this is a little bit of inside baseball, but I found this out from some people who no longer work with GW, is that they invested a ton of infrastructure in an automated pick system. Again, my Amazon employees are probably rolling their eyes out of their skull right now. Basically, there's the GW warehouse has 2 forms of pulling product to fulfill in order to then ship out. One is personnel. You have human beings who go, they go through the racks, they find what they need, they put it on a cart. Simultaneously, concurrently, while this is going on, the other half of the warehouse is fully automated. I don't know if you guys heard Dom laugh in the background just now, but it's really dumb. It is an incredibly stupid system. And so I asked, like, hey, like, why is this the case? Why don't we just adopt one or the other? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the term sunk cost, but it basically boils down to this. Someone at GW made the decision that they were going to implement this program. It did not work well at all. They found that they still needed human workers. And now they are caught trying to basically have both systems run in tandem. And I don't know if you've ever worked alongside a autonomous robot. It's really hard to have a conversation with that robot and say, hey, you're grabbing the wrong thing, or I don't want to double up and pull the same thing that you're pulling or you're picking. So what we have also seen is that it's increased the error rate in the shipments that we're receiving and the products that we get in those shipments. And I look back on the halcyon days of pre-COVID when GW was on top of their game, when it was just smooth and easy peasy. And I think back to that young, naive Jarrett, and I go, man, you did not know how good it was. Because GW, as like I mentioned, the other distributors also used to run like clockwork. We place an order on Monday, we get it by Thursday. It'll include our new arrivals, our restocks, and everything in between. Unfortunately, that's no longer the case. As to what we can do, unfortunately, there's not a lot. With Bandai, again, in the previous issue, there's an avenue of communication. Games Workshop is is so old. They are so entrenched. They are effectively, to steal a turn of phrase from some Greek friends of mine, they are the sea in which all other miniature companies swim in. They just are. They're a monolith. But hopefully, by watching this video, the next time you ask me or anyone at the counter, like, hey, when is XYZ coming in, you have a better idea. Before we go on, I want to close with this. There are certain items that are perpetually out of stock, and I have no idea when they're coming in. And that is a shitty answer to give, but it's the reality, and here's why. Similar to the Bandai printer situation, GW has a finite production capability. They have, they're not, I think it's injection molds is really what their proprietary technology is. And these things run constantly. Do you remember how I mentioned the constant release cycle with GW, where we have the week 3 solicitation, the week 2 pre-order, all that stuff? Well, when there's new stuff releasing every single week, you simply can't get to your back orders, your backlog, I should say. So Games Workshop is constantly committing triage as to what they want to get out the door. Eventually, they'll get around to those Carnifexes, those Exocrines, those Immortals, those items that are basically core and integral to your faction, but they've been out for so long, they're just kind of on the back burner. I'll just have to wait for that day to roll around. Hopefully this video isn't too horribly depressing. Warhammer is still a fantastic game. We love playing it, and what's relevant is it seems that we can get the things that are new and most in demand at a steady clip whenever our turn comes up in the pick sequence. Anyway, next time we're gonna ask you guys to give us some feedback, ask us some questions, and see if we can't sort anything out, see if there's any stones left unturned. But until then, please hit like and subscribe. Stay safe, and we'll see you at the tables.